Hello, this is Scott again, and welcome to yet another completely unprofessional unboxing. And what I have here is proof that I am completely mistaken, the occasional liar, and really have no idea what I'm doing. But as stated from the last video that I said was probably the last unboxing for a little bit, completely forgot that I had something coming in that was going to call me out as a complete liar. So here we are. Anywho, so what we have here is something that I picked up in a very short online auction on Facebook. Facebook has its own RPG auction groups. A lot of them are far better pricing and far better deals than what you would find on eBay. And so, coinciding with my current RPG midlife crisis and my urge to increase the collection that I have acquired, it's pulling me in other directions that I normally wouldn't go. When I open this, I will explain why. So, before we begin, trusty Coleman steak knife here, the camping steak knife, and we are 7 months, 8 months without incident. So, is today going to be the day? Probably not, but one can wish. So let's see here. So this is now not going to be a knife, but more a crowbar, as I use it to open the priority mail pack here, which is sealed with, oh god, the real life version of Sovereign Glue. Slide this out, set our box aside, and it is in some informal protection wrap, and we will unwrap that, swing this around, try to put it front and center, and there we go. So what do we have here? Some of you already know, and some of you don't. So for those who don't, this is Superworld. Superworld, the superpowered role-playing game, created by Steve Perrin and others, and contributions by others for Chaosium. I don't know the exact time when the game came out, but of course, for what it is, just by generally looking at it is a superhero role-playing game. I have been on record as saying that even though I appreciate them and I love superhero comics, like most people do, I don't have any issue with it. I have particular, I wouldn't call it issues, but just particular quirks when it comes to superhero role-playing games, and how they're run, how they're handled, and just the extension of disbelief and the immersion within role-playing games themselves and superhero role-playing games in regards to the genre. I think that there is a definite gap between the expectation of what a role-playing game would be when you're playing superheroes and what it actually is, regardless of the rules and the setting that it provides. But this is not a debate. That debate was already kind of set up on the podcast, Titter Pigs, that I'm on, and may go in-depth later. But so what's interested me in this is one of two games that I've been trying to get over here. Superworld is definitely more populous over in Europe, specifically in the UK, as is quite a few of the Chaosium, the older Chaosium box set games, and some of the more obscure ones. And every once in a while, you'll see one creep up over here in the States. And sometimes they're in good shape, sometimes they're not. But this one, and more specifically, Golden Heroes, is one that I've been looking for over here in the States unsuccessfully, and can find in either relatively good to semi-perfect condition over in the UK, but it's just the shipping cost. I mean, the pricing is never an issue over there. The prices are priced to sell, and they're a lot more fair in their pricing as a lot of the games over in Europe. Still, there's collector prices on them, but it's not a lot of the absurd ones that you can see over here. Like people wanting $80 for an empty box, or them notating something as incomplete and only knocking off a couple bucks. I mean, if it's incomplete, it's not worth the collector's price. Let's be real. But as usual, I'm taking a divergent path. So Superworld pretty much picked up more for the historical significance of it, the collector's aspect of it. And if I'm going to, try to retcon my feelings about superhero games, I'd like to look to the past first before looking at the current ones, because to be honest, a lot of the current ones are the ones that kind of turned me off on it. So maybe the old school aspect of it, maybe more up my alley. Superworld, Golden Heroes, and then of course Marvel superheroes and such. Marvel superheroes existed in abundance. I owned that when I was younger. It was one of the ones that sat on the shelf because it was primarily purchased, like a lot of the games that I picked up when I was a lad, but could not convince my friends to play. They were pretty much D&D centric and didn't want to spin too far off the path because that's what they liked. So a lot of times these things would be purchased. I would read them. They would go on the shelf, and unfortunately, a lot of those things got lost over the years. So, but here we are, Superworld. So let's take a look at it, open it up, and see what we have inside. All right. So first off, we have some character sheets, and one of the first things I noticed about these character sheets are, excuse me, I had a late lunch, so. Its general look is very similar to the ElfQuest character sheets, just because you have an empty mannequin here that you could fill in and color with your superhero outfit or suit or whatever it is you're going for. Very much like the ElfQuest character sheets that they have, with the general outline of Wendy Penny's design, but you get to fill it in with the clothing and the look that you want. So unused, which is surprising, because a lot of these things that's when they have these mannequins, sometimes they're filled in, sometimes they're not. So we have dramatic poses as such. Looks like, well, there's 3, and I think these feel like originals. These aren't photocopies for the time. This being a game of the 80s, the paper would definitely have a different feel to it. And okay, so we've got our character sheets. Could be wrong though. I don't know. There's a little bit of ink stain on the edge, so these could be photocopies, but still, they are usable. And a little bit of history. I know there's some that probably are already aware of this, even if they're not familiar with the game. But Superworld, this is the supposed game that George R.R. Martin of Song of Fire and Ice, Game of Thrones fame, utilized his ongoing campaign that he played with this and other literary types to create his series of books called what was it? Wild Cards. Yes, Wild Cards. So I've never read them myself, but that's just a little tidbit about this. So know that this is a game that's been around for a while. Not wildly popular. I understand that it was overshadowed by Champions to a certain degree, and although there were 2 or 3 supplements that complemented this game. So okay, so we've got more sheets, Game Master control sheets, to utilize information, action rank control sheet. Let's see here. Action rank. I'm curious if that follows the same thing as strike rank in regards to RuneQuest. Probably does. Here we are. Some more reference sheets on creating a superhero. Various charts and tables. Okay. And what do we have here? Okay, we have standees, little paper figures. Yep. Okay. And let's see, box of contents and explanation of the parts. 3 booklets, a set of reference sheets, a set of character sheets, a set of Game Master 8 sheets, a sheet of cardstock character silhouettes for use in the game, 6 dice, and other enclosures. Each major item fulfills a supplement of particular need. Okay. Fair enough. I believe this does not have the dice in it. Okay, so yeah. So here are the character sheets. So yeah, those probably were photocopies. Very nice paper though, if they were. Yep. Here are the different ones. Notes in the back for craft paper. Interesting. All right. Very cool. So yeah, so those definitely were photocopies. One of my favorite things about the unboxing the games is the superfluous, advertisements and things that are in there. It's always a blast of the past and a joy to see some of these things that open up. Sometimes there's things that don't belong in there, which is always cool. But so this Chaosium Games Catalog, Volume 2, Number 2 for the summer of 83. 1983, I would have been edited years old. And and I'm sure lots of you would probably recognize the things that are in this catalog. But okay, RuneQuest, new hardcover edition. The book only, $12, $15 for the hardcover book, and $20 for the box set. Very cool. Here we are, Troll Pack and Pavis and Big Rubble, every single one of them collector's items themselves. We have the solo quests. Some of these are available for reprint, I believe, on Chaosium's site, print on demands. We have Quest World, Cults of Prax, Cults of Terror. Once again, both of these, Snake Pop Hollow, in their own rights, collector's items also, but they're definitely a little bit more affordable than the box sets are. Call of Cthulhu, the Special Designers Limited Edition, only 200 in the series. Signed and numbered by the author, includes the Shadows of Yog-Sothoth global campaign, only $38. Huh. I wonder what one of those goes now. And then we also have the Stormbringer box set, which is coincidentally enough, I believe the anniversary of Stormbringer just came up, and Pookie at Reviews at Relaya has done an extensive review of the first edition. And know that I still owe him a game. I had prepared a game of this on Roll20 to play to kind of hopefully coincide with it. It didn't happen before the anniversary occurred, but just time and issues. But it is set up on Roll20, and hopefully sometime soon we will find a moment to do this with the return from with the return to the world back to some sort of normalcy. The availability that some of us have has waned a tad, so therefore we're a bit exclusive with some of the games that we choose. They're just not as random as they once were a year ago. And as much as I want the world to get over the COVID crisis and for things to eventually get back to normal, I do kind of miss the extra amount of time that we had during this lockdown to spend with our friends in regards to gaming online. C'est la vie. Thieves World. Oh yes, this is something that I was able to pick up during lockdown, coincidentally, from a man who lives locally. He was getting rid of a couple things that he no longer wanted. One of which was the complete Thieves World box set. He was pretty much giving it away for next to nothing, and I jumped on that as quick as I could. And it's in perfect, pristine condition. But Thieves World is something that, once again, those who are familiar with this game are probably familiar with Thieves World. And there's several different stories behind Thieves World, but we'll save that for a different day. Worm's footnotes, other things that are currently... So everything on here... Oh, there's my dog. Pretty much everything on here, just looking at this, these are... A lot of these would-be collectors' wet dreams, pardon my French. And here's some things currently out of print during 1983. So All the World's Monsters 2 and 3, Apple Lane, Authentic... oh god, I can never pronounce that correct. Thaumaturgy. Ballastor's Barracks, Borderlands, Dragon Pass. Foes, since that's capitalized, I assume that's FOES maybe, an acronym. Gateway Bestiary, Griffin Mountain, King Arthur's Knights, Militia and Mercenaries, Nomad Gods, Perilous Encounters, Scorpion Man, and Bruise. Never heard of that. Trolls and Trollkin, haven't heard of that either. White Bear and Red Moon, of course. Worlds of Wonder, and Worms Footnotes magazines. Interesting. Okay, and we've got some notes here. Letters to, or in the works, I should say. Oh, things that are in the works. Superworld, summer 1983. Okay. Ringworld, The Asylum and Other Tales, and Pendragon, fall of 83. Other advertisements within here. Elric, Battle at the End of Time, based on the fantastic novels of Michael Moorcock. What is that? Is that the board game? Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Continuing on, and Letters and Different Worlds, a magazine for all role-playing gamers in the Chaosium order form. So, took a little bit too long on that. It just, nostalgia kicks in. And then we have the Superworld Superheroes book. So, all right, here we go. What is Superworld? The Superworld role-playing game allows players to assume the roles of 20th century comic book superheroes, caped and costumed stalwarts who defend humanity against the depredations of superpower criminals lacking every fundamental human decency. Players start by creating their own superheroes, a design procedure presented in this book. Superpowers and their effects in the game are described in the companion Superpowers book included in the box. The third book, for Game Masters, contains villains for superheroes to battle and situation for superheroes to encounter. In total, these total books provide rules and methods which can create a superhero universe in which justice and mercy always triumph, much like those appearing monthly in the comic book stores and on newsstands of many nations. Fantastic. We will see, once I spend some time with it, if this proclamation holds up. It's safe to assume that this is a basic role-playing system with various skills that are done on a percentile base. Superhero creation. Some pretty cool black and white art. Information on, specifically examples of where to put it on your sheet in a certain way. Yeah, that's kind of neat. So that's helpful. It's giving you a written example of what it looks like. Once again, some things that probably even modern games today should adhere to. And apologies, we got a helicopter flying overhead. Game mechanics. Some other decent artwork. Going through it. Lifting and throwing. So a lot of the basics. Very, very light. Is the pages on here written? No. Oh, yeah, it is. 31 pages for your Superheroes book. We have your Superpowers book. Okay. Another copy of the character sheet. The various powers that you can gain. Looks like it's categorized between offensive, martial arts, movement, super characteristics, super senses, and other. Fantastic. All right, so out of body, and not heavy on the artwork. Which, I mean, let's be fair. I know that's kind of the time for this particular style of how games were formatted in the 80s. A lot of them. I mean, they wouldn't be inundated with art, but I mean there would be sporadic bits. But my feelings towards games that that follow a specific genre that could be artistically heavy, such as superheroes, which comes from comic books, you would think that a lot of times the artwork would be a little bit more more numerous within the pages, because it's not just a genre; it's an artistic. An artistic foundation. I hope I'm using the English language correctly. A lot of times I will I am the guilty one of utilizing words for a long time, thinking they mean something, and then realizing that they don't, and yet not admitting that I was incorrect. So, too bad. And it looks like last, or almost last, we have the Game Master's book. We have a nice, decent drawing. If it looks like a villain lounging while his guards are protecting some sort of base. Another operative's control sheet you can copy if you need more. Description of the Game Master obligations within the game. That's kind of a Dynaman's powers require extensive electronic maintenance. I mean, once again, it's the artwork's not leaping off the pages like it would in a comic book, but I mean, it evokes the sense of what you're going for. Kind of curious, maybe that might be one of the things that wasn't too popular about it without doing any research, but come on, this is comic book games need comic book art. It's and a lot of it, I feel. All right, that's an okay piece. And we've got, this is the information about the adventure. All right, so here we go. Here's a nice detailed piece one here. The laboratory, villains from left to right, rapid fire, Cerebella, Brainwave, Dr. Dread, Pile Driver, and Black Maria. Wonderful villain names. And then we've got the hunting. Yeah, well, okay. Here we are. Some other NPCs. Okay, that's an interesting piece. It's almost like a ghoul from Call of Cthulhu, Darkspawn. Oh wait, no, oh maybe. Oh, there's a Wilfred Owens, Archghoul. Huh. Wonder if there's a. Did someone get some Call of Cthulhu in my peanut butter? I mean my my Superworld. Are they two great tastes that go great together? Who knows? Oh wow. Okay, so that Darkspawn in action. So kind of a little Cthulhu-esque, cosmic horror look here. I like this piece. That's interesting. Okay, so and then of course finally at the bottom of the box we have your Chaosium. Hi, I just bought your game. Please send me your latest info and put me on your mailing list for future announcements of new games and books. Where does it go to? Albany, California. I don't think they're there anymore. Huh. Well, whoever owns box 6302 in Albany, California, I may fill us out and send it just for shits and giggles. Wait, what is this? It looks like someone filled it in. The bottom part. Rate these subjects by your preference, 1 being favorite and 7 being your least favorite. So, historical fantasy, 2. Swords and sorcery, 1. Science fiction, 7. Exotic magic, 5. 20th century, 6. Reality, is that a number? And other, 2. And what are you writing here? Superhero. Is that what he wrote in? Superhero? Yeah, superhero. Okay. Is this your first game? No. Is this your first Chaosium game? No. Your age, 19 to 25. Okay, so he was 19 and 25 in 1983. So, wow, okay. Well, someone's a tad older than me. And education, 13 to 16 years. And household income, 40,000 plus. How'd you hear of this game? From a friend. All right. Well, hey, good for you. But at least the information's, personal information's not there, which is good. But good to know this person actually really enjoys superhero games, and that's probably why they picked it up. Don't know what they have against science fiction, though, giving into 7, but, different strokes for different folks. So, I think this one's probably run a bit long, and I see it has. My apologies. I kind of drifted off point with a couple of things in here for nostalgia's sake. But this was Superworld. This is kind of maybe, I know one part of it is just the collector in me who wanted to pick this up for the historical significance of the game. But the other part of me is hoping to find a happy medium for myself and, superhero, superpowered role-playing games that try to evoke the sense of, comic book heroes. Not just superpowered people within, a fantasy world, so to speak. A little bit different. So can Superworld do it? Who knows? I mean, we shall see. I do love Chaosium. I do love basic role playing. And I do love the genre. I just, for some reason, it's just never really given me any sort of oomph playing playing superheroes for RPGs. That would probably be my 7. So, anyways, this is Scott, and this has been yet another completely unprofessional unboxing. Thank you for sticking with me while I prattled on through this whole thing. And while I may declare once again that this may be the last unboxing for a while, and I may do just a couple other videos just for fun until something else comes up that I can open. You never know. People are sending me stuff now. I do have there's Kickstarters that are fulfilling that I have forgotten about. So I'm sure another one will creep up soon enough. So with that, take care. Have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you and see you all very, very soon.